Seminole County, another name in the file. Another native son who never gets his trial. A coward crossed a line he thought nobody'd see. First degree deliberate, that's the crime he owned. But the deal came down to second, as if it mattered less that day. Jacob was a son, a brother, a father too, grandson of somebody who raised him strong and true. He counted every morning, he opened his eyes. Now his family's left with a sentence that doesn't add up to why. Tell me when justice stopped being for everyone. Tell me who decided that his life was worth the cost. He mattered, he still matters. Say his name out loud. Jacob Schuyler Washington. We won't let him down. How many more will fall before somebody stands and says a life's a life, no matter whose blood's on whose hands? Seminole County knows the price it let him pay. Second degree doesn't cover what was stolen away. Tell me when justice stopped being for everyone. Tell me who decided that his life was worth the cost. He mattered, he still matters. Say his name out loud. Jacob Schuyler Washington. We won't let him down. He was somebody's whole world, somebody's midnight phone call, somebody's reason to keep the porch light on. And a plea deal doesn't erase that. It only tells his family how little the county thought it cost to take him from them. We remember his name, we say it until they can't look away. Tell me when justice stopped being for everyone. Tell me who decided that his life was worth the cost. He mattered, he still matters. Say his name out loud. Jacob Schuyler Washington. We won't let him down. Hey, hey, hey. Every killer, every coward depends on our silence. We're not giving it to them. Not this time. Not in his name.
Live on the air, Trial Junkies United presents Justice After Dark with your host, Z.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate that. Of course, we already have a couple of our mods. We have Irish and Simi are in the chat. All of you lurkers, come on in and join us. Fala, not feeling well. Let's send her some good vibes. And also, our lovely Katrina tried to get heat stroke this weekend. That girl's got to get. Oh, there she is. Get out of the heat, girl. Get some hydration going. But this is, I'm thanking you all for coming tonight. This is greetings to our trial junkies, our truth seekers, and our justice warriors. I'm Z, your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice, with my ride or die doc, riding shotgun. Normally, Thursday nights are reserved for the missing and murdered brothers and sisters and our relatives. But this one we scheduled for a reason, because This case is, they don't get covered enough and they deserve their own night. But tonight we're breaking from that because the clock is running out for one family. And we're not going to let that happen at all. And his name is Jacob Schuyler Washington. This Thursday, July 30th, a man is accused of killing a young Native father. And he's set to be sentenced under a plea deal. And we know how we hate those plea deals. And the victim's family says it doesn't come close to fitting what was done to their son. So tonight we're going to open up our platform and we want you to know who Jacob was and what this sentence that's going to happen on the 30th means to the family. And just some basic facts. This is the loser right here who is the one that killed him. And here's what you need to know according to the court filings. Everybody have your YouTube channels turned off, or the sound. You don't have to turn off, just the sound. But Jake Washington worked for a man named John Lawrence Nolte II. Last time I'm going to say his name, he's just going to be called the second. He helped rebuild a barn on his property. On May 12th of 2023, which was Mother's Day's weekend, okay, Jacob had planned to travel out of state with his pregnant partner and their children. But he changed his plans because the second texted him and he needed him to work. So being Jacob, from what I've talked with his mother about, that's what he did. He went and he went to work. Next, according to the state's own filings, Nick's son, the third, or Nolte's son, the third, told the investigators that his father admitted that the two men had fought because his father said he had pushed Jacob off of a ladder. But he's seen driving Jacob's truck off the property that night. He calls the third to pick him up on the highway, and a short time later, Jacob goes missing. On May 14th, days later, the second tells his son to burn the barn down because he says bad people want to pin this on him. So the barn was burned down in the early morning hours of the 17th. That same night, Jacob's family, not the police, Jacob's family, found his truck off Highway 270, and he was inside. Investigators say they recovered spent shells, casings, duct tape in the vehicle, and that a fingerprint on the tape matched the second. The medical examiner ruled Jacob's death a homicide from multiple gunshot wounds. The second was charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit arson, and 2 counts of filing false insurance claims. And court records show he collected tens of thousands of dollars in insurance payouts after the barn and the RV that was near it burned. Now, court filings show his defense was going to fight really hard because they didn't want to go to a jury, because they argued that his son, the third, he was just trying to cover for himself. But they never even got a chance to go to a trial because prosecutors, they just wanted an easy win. And we know how that works at times in certain areas, certain counties. Oklahoma is becoming famous for it. You take a plea, and they reduced it to second degree. Think about that. We're going to talk more with the family about this because it's not right. This is a man that was loved by his family, and what happened to him shouldn't happen to anybody. So let's welcome Jacob's family. His mother, George, is here. His sisters, Jaxie, Chelsea, Haley. Let's see, who else? Is it Leanne?
Yes.
Okay. And who else do we have? Anybody I didn't mention?
Sierra.
Oh, okay.
Can each y'all do me a little favor? Somebody still has their sound on their phone.
Yeah.
And we can hear that. It's feeding back through the system.
There's no volume on. Might be Jason. Jason's watching.
Yeah, because I can hear.
Oh, okay. Tell him. Jason, are you watching that podcast? Yes, he's not watching it.
Just turn the volume down. That's all.
Yeah.
You
The
don't.
volume completely down.
Yeah, completely down.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just turned my volume off. I don't keep my volume on at all. Okay. So, but thank you guys for coming and sharing with us tonight. But before we talk about any details, Georgia, who is Jacob? Who was he? What was he like?
He was funny. I thought I wasn't gonna do this.
It's okay, Georgia. It's just you and me having a chat, honey.
He was like everyone's like go-to person. He was so funny. He was so loving.
And Jaxie, you're his baby sister. What do you want people to know about your big brother?
He could do anything in the world, like literally could do anything. He was cool as heck to be around. I was younger, so I never got to really like hang around my older siblings, but he was cool. He really had a big heart for everyone. Like no matter what, like if you needed anything, like he would be there. Like he would drop anything that he's doing and be there for you.
Any of you other girls? Haley, Chelsea?
He would just,
Anybody got
It's very caring. He literally would give the shirt off his back to anyone. He wanted to see everybody make it in life. That's why when he started his own business, and he wanted everyone to work for him. So he was just a loving man.
and he was the father of 3 children. And
4.
as his mom had told me, he started out as a welder, correct?
Yes.
And then he just could the volume be on the YouTube on the screen? Do you guys have YouTube up?
Yeah. He's not watching. Yeah, you gotta turn it.
Okay, so he started out as a welder because the family, a lot of them weld, but then he wanted to do something special. He wanted to build. And so he started his own construction company. He was a framer, and that was important to him. And what was the name of his company?
Copperhead Construction.
I like that.
Copperhead Construction. That's cool.
Isn't that cool, Doc?
Yeah.
And his mom told me that he could pick up a guitar after listening to a song and play it. He learned how to read blueprints, was great with math, which is very important. But whenever Jacob disappeared, how soon did everybody find out that he was gone?
Well, so go ahead, someone.
Like inside.
Yeah,
Less than
like
24
instantly.
hours. Yeah.
That's how his phone was off. And if you know Jacob, he will not let his phone go dead. Like his phone never went dead. So whenever I was coming from Shawnee and I was on the highway, and I was driving down the highway, and well, my husband was, and I was on my phone, and I went to my son, or I was just looking, and my other son Tyler, I seen something on his Facebook, and it said, "Has anyone seen my brother?" I haven't seen him. I haven't heard or seen from him since last night, and his phone is going straight to voicemail. And soon as he said that, like something in my chest just like, like just hit me in the chest so hard. And I was like, oh my God, get me home. And my husband was like, what's wrong? And I said, something's wrong with Jacob. His phone's going to voicemail. And my husband's like, oh, that's probably it's probably nothing. I was like, no, like I literally feel something is wrong. And so I called all of my kids, and then I instantly started trying to call Jake's phone, and it kept going straight to voicemail. Like I kept trying to call his phone, and voicemail. I called my kids. I was like, I need everybody to get home. Come to my house. Everyone come home. And so everyone did, and like I just knew it. Like soon as I walked in my house and all my kids were there, I knew something was wrong. And I called police. And probably 24 hours.
24 hours. Now, Jacob had worked for the second for a while, correct? He had been working out there on the barn for a while.
Yeah.
So
About a month prior.
Okay.
about a month prior.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden on Facebook, before this all happened, if we go back a month, there was a incident where the second claimed that he had had a burglary at his property in his garage. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this dude goes on Facebook and literally says, I hope the police catch you before I do, because I'm going to harm you, if whoever you are that stole from me. And supposedly some weapons were taken, a weapon that belonged to his father. And was anything else taken beside the weapons?
Yeah, there was a side-by-side that was taken.
A side-by-side. Okay. So he's making threats and acting belligerent. And Jacob knows he didn't do anything, but he starts checking, to see, because he had a crew out there working, correct?
Right.
And so he's concerned about his crew, and he's trying to make sure that these young boys didn't do something stupid, because Jacob had done stuff in his past, but he had cleaned his life up, and he was working as a construction, doing houses. He lived in Texas and built big houses and made a name for himself. So he knew what it was to step up and become the man that his family needed him to be. And so he was trying to help others to become what he had become, correct?
Yeah.
And sadly, someone on the crew didn't make it that way.
Right.
And so Jacob was trying to get that person to come forward.
Yes.
And of course, they didn't want to. And so then when he gets called out to come work at the second's place again, he puts his plans aside and he goes, because he knows he didn't do anything.
Right.
Now he's disappeared. Your family's all in action because you need to find him, that this is not his behavior. And so when did you finally find him? How many days he disappeared on the 12th, and what was it, the 17th?
Yes, 5 days later.
5 days. And Georgie, you had told me that you had gathered the family and told them that day, you go find him. You don't come back. Don't come back until you got him.
I called my two brothers, Mike and Sean, and I told them that they needed to come back because they had to go to work if they live in Tulsa. And I was like, no, I need y'all here tonight, and y'all are going to go find Jacob. And so when they came down, my brothers just said, hey, I'm going to go look, where Jake used to fish and ride dirt bikes. And I said, okay. And then my husband, my two brothers, and sister-in-law jumped in the truck and went down the old highway 270, and they thought they had seen something, so they backed up, and my son's truck was there. And so my brothers jumped out, and then my husband just said, no, nobody moved, and they called 911. They didn't go, they all did jump out and was looking to see if it was his truck, and then they called 911.
Right. Because your husband knew something was up.
Because my husband had, there was an odor that he just didn't think that they should go any further.
It's something you never forget.
Exactly.
So he knew, and the family did exactly what they needed to do. They just stopped. And so, how soon did the police rule it a homicide?
Soon as the medical examiner, or no, did they do it that night? Or yeah. But I guess that morning. Well, and I guess the reason why is because he was he was tied up, and
yeah, because there was duct tape and zip ties, so there was no way he had done any harm to himself. And then the thing with the second, he had moved down here from Texas, or up from Texas. Got to get my states in line here. So he had moved up from Texas to when Jacob was working for him, but Jacob found out with working for him that they actually had lived in the same area of Texas, correct?
yes.
Okay. And so when he, and so that's kind of how they bonded, because he had actually gone with his family to Maddie's, which was the second's daughter. She had a restaurant, bar and grill, correct?
Yeah, my son never knew that. My son would take his family and they would go eat stuff there all the time, and he never knew the second,
right?
Like, and then whenever he got to know him, whenever he moved to Oklahoma, the second moved to Oklahoma, then my son's, that's whenever they're like, hey, my son was like, no, I lived in Boyd, or, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And they lived in Springtown.
Yeah.
But how long was it after Jacob was found that all of a sudden this family picks up and goes back to Texas?
Right. No, actually, remember they put a gate and all that where nobody could go through. So they were there for like maybe like 3 months. I would say about that was about 3 months. That's it. They were there for a little bit late. About 3 months later, yeah.
About 3 months.
They were moving.
But did John Nolte, the third, he left way before 3 months.
Oh yeah, he left.
Yeah, he left immediately. Yeah.
Now the barn got burned down on what day?
The 16th at 2.
16th.
Yeah, it was 2 p.m. the barn burned, and we had we had an appointment for the drones to be flown out there the next morning, the morning of the 17th, and the barn burned the night before on the 16th, middle of the night.
Yeah, we don't believe in coincidence. Let's see. Hey Doc, could this be my microphone giving us any feedback? Okay.
No, because the only time that we have any problem is when you're speaking, so it's coming through on somebody's phone. Somewhere somebody has a phone that the sound is active yet.
Yeah, I think all of ours are off.
Okay. That's okay.
Oh, can you hear now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we-
not.
we
I'm
can
not
hear.
hearing. I'm not hearing it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. And so the third, he takes off pretty quickly. And then the second, a few months later, he follows and goes back to Texas. Now, one of the things that people need to understand is how he got caught, because they were able to take some of the duct tape from the vehicle and they found a fingerprint in the duct tape, correct?
Along with my son's hair.
Along with your son's hair,
Hmm.
because he had long,
Yeah.
beautiful hair. He was
Yeah.
he was a beautiful young man.
Thank-
And so when they got the fingerprint, how did the Texas Rangers find out about this?
They came in contact with some of the law enforcement. Or you want to know how they found out about the fingerprints?
Yeah.
Yeah, they ran the fingerprints and they couldn't find anything in Oklahoma. And they say that Texas is like, you really can't get a lot of information from Texas and on anything, you know. And so they finally got out, a law enforcement guy or investigator, not sure which one, got in touch with, was able to get his fingerprints from his driver's license. And that's how they made the connection. And that's how they got their arrest warrant.
And it was a match. So he got arrested by the Texas Rangers. That's saying something. When they bring the Rangers out, you kind of done.
Yeah.
Our Seminole Nation Light Horse Police, you know, they've been going above and beyond, you know, trying to get this case.
Yeah.
So
They worked hard on it.
they really truly have told me that that's what they ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Case.
Because we're not going to go into details, but just so everybody understands. Let's see. I think I had. Let me over here in the pictures. Yeah, there's Jacob with the turtle, and we'll go back to some of those. Or going back fast here. I'm trying to get to the map because Georgia sent me a map, and it gives you a good idea.
Yeah, you
Okay,
went past.
there we
You
go.
just went
Whoops.
past it.
There we go.
Can we just make one thing clear?
Sure, you go right ahead.
Talking about earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So with, you know, the robbery and all that, the burglary
Right.
that happened at Nolte's home, there was three people that were charged with charged with stealing the side by side and the gun. So
Right.
there was three of them that was convicted. Yeah.
Right.
So,
And we were gonna I was gonna get to that, but I'm trying to kind of go in chronological order, and that was after Jacob was murdered. Correct?
right,
But yeah,
charged after the fact.
Yeah.
yeah, charged after. What happened? I had the map up and then it moved again, Doc.
Hard to say, babe. Hold on.
Are you gonna say
Hold
I'm
on.
pushing buttons again?
I would never say that, but
I know.
it's a possibility.
Can you get us to the map?
Hold on. Let me.
Okay. But if you guys look at this map as we talk, you will see that when Jacob gets the phone call, he's at home that day. And I blocked out his home address because nobody needs his home address. But it shows you on this map how he drives all the way to where the second lived, and that's where the red dot is. It took him about I think 19 minutes to get there. Now, from the time he gets there, because they got phone coverage, they've got the pings. And that's one thing. The second, he was a little dense. He didn't realize that you can get caught by pings. So the phones are at the same place. And with the phones, they're able to tell that they were at that location for approximately 3 hours before he leaves in Jacob's truck. So within those 3 hours, we don't know exactly what happened, but we'll just use the word torture. He tortured Jacob. That's it. That's all I'm going to discuss on that, because the family's still raw. This is still, they're dealing with this. But I want you to know that this was not just somebody got upset and it was over quickly. You need to understand that, to understand why this plea deal is so wrong. Because this is a man who threatened on the internet, said he was going to harm whoever did this. He actually, it comes out in court in the preliminary hearings that he bought a tracker, and he wanted the third to put it on Jacob's truck so he could track Jacob.
Yeah.
And what else did he want? Oh, and he bought a fingerprint kit because he wanted to get his fingerprints. He was doing his own detective work.
So everything from A to Z was premeditated with this.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. This was a premeditated attack.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So he's there at this house for 3 hours, and then he takes Jacob's truck from the red dot and you follow it to the end of the blue line. That's over 5 miles, but it took him, I can't remember how long. It took him longer than it should have to drive that far.
Like an hour and 30. Yeah, like an hour and 60 minutes.
So I have a feeling he was probably going slow, trying to figure out where he was going to park the truck, trying to find a location to park the truck. I think he was trying to get it back close to where Jacob lived because he didn't want them coming to him. He wanted it to look like it was something that happened, there. Now, then there's footage of him, a cam trail that shows him walking because he calls the third to come pick him up. So they have the evidence of him walking. So there's no question that he's the one that has done this. And then in the preliminary hearings, see, the son's not smart. Let's just put it out there. That boy just ain't smart. And the third just, he couldn't stick to a script. I guess they didn't print it big enough for him. Because one of the questions they asked him was, did Jacob use your father's tools? And of course, that was going to be the story they were going to tell as to why Jacob's fingerprints would be in their garage, because Jacob borrowed his tools. Jacob had a construction company. He had better tools. He didn't borrow people's tools. And the third just said, no, he didn't.
Oh,
and
wow.
Georgia, you said the second kind of flipped out during court.
He started, he could barely get around, but whenever he heard his son say, no, Jacob had his own tools, he never borrowed tools, he started throwing his arms up in the air like he was shaking his hands and throwing them up, and like he had everyone's attention. The whole yeah.
That's funny. I can't believe that the guy, and another thing y'all need to understand is since this happened, and he's had to come into court, he's now coming into court in a wheelchair. because, you know, it looks good.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Because they've talked to people at the jail, and he walks there when he's at the jail, but for some reason to get into the courtroom he needs wheels. You know, go figure that one. But yeah, that's ridiculous. So, you know, they got him arrested. They're doing the preliminary hearings, and in the meantime, like they said, it comes out that they find the people that actually robbed him. They've convicted them. And the young man that I guess, would you say he was, Chandler was kind of the leader, told them Jacob had nothing to do with this. You know? So, I mean, he at least had the guts to admit that he screwed up, and he didn't, you know, blame Jacob, because Jacob did not know that they were planning on doing this. Sadly, Jacob was trying to give this kid a break and hire him. And let's just say, I hope he doesn't have pleasant dreams because of his actions. Somebody lost their life,
Mm-hmm.
or put it into motion. It's not because of him. It's because of the second. The second is the one that took Jacob's life.
Right.
But Chandler, you know, he put it into motion. Now, there has been talk that has come out that did Chandler say, or did somebody else say allegedly, that they were supposed to take the side by side for insurance fraud?
That's kind of what we had heard.
Okay, so
But he,
so yeah,
so I, had got a hold of a few people in Texas that knew the Noltes, and a couple of people I asked, I was like, would this be like would you think that this would be like a insurance fraud claim, or is this something that he could have set up? And they were like, oh yes, most definitely he did, like, inside fraud, or insurance fraud.
so the people from his community said that this wasn't kind of out of focus for something that this man would do.
Yes, yeah.
He kind of had a reputation.
Yes, yeah.
Down in Texas. And it was known that he did like to drink a lot.
Yeah.
So
an alcoholic, and I mean, he told me for himself. I don't know the man. He's the one that told me, but everyone else that does know him, they know that he's a raging alcoholic.
Yeah.
Belligerent. What else did he tell me? Yeah. I'm a belligerent drunk, and there's things that I do sometimes that I just don't remember. He told me for himself he was a belligerent drunk.
This was when you were looking for Jacob.
Yes.
So he was setting up his story that I'm a raging alcoholic and I don't remember stuff. So we can see how he was setting up the story that Jacob borrowed tools. I'm a raging alcoholic. I don't remember stuff. So he's trying to get this story going, so that nobody will look at him. But because he's worried someone will look at him, that's why he had his kid burn the barn down. And he collected insurance money, you guys, for the barn and the RV. Now, why the insurance company paid out, I'll never know.
The insurance company didn't say anything about that, like suspicious?
No, they weren't suspicious, but they were actually, I mean, I guess I don't know if they were suspicious or not. They gave him like over $100,000.
Yeah. So wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of blows your mind that they weren't more. I'm surprised they're not going after him for the fraud.
Yeah, they are. The insurance company is going after him.
Okay.
Okay.
See, That makes sense because that's a lot of money. But so he's arrested, and then his son, he turns himself in, you know, when they tell him that there's a warrant for you. So he comes back, he goes in. Now, the son is being helpful, so some judge decides to let him out on bail. Not the second, but the third is going to get out on bail. And first they give him an ankle bracelet, which that's normal. You're going to get bail, you're going to get an ankle bracelet. But he doesn't keep the ankle bracelet, right?
No, he couldn't afford it. He was having another child.
Well, that's too bad. You commit crimes, you do time, boy. I mean, I'm so sorry that it interferes with your finances. I guess you shouldn't be covering up people being killed. Then you wouldn't have to worry about paying for it. Um, and then get this, you guys, they let him go back to Texas. I maybe they figured he wasn't smart enough to run. I don't know. You know? But that's a lot of trust. Because there's questions on, did his dad really do this by himself, or did he have more help than he said? Because Jacob was a strong young man. But of course, if, because this is the story according to them, is that he told his son that he had an argument or a fight with Jacob, and he pushed him off the ladder, and he thinks he won. Now,
Yeah.
What kind of, right there, he's admitting guilt. Oh, somebody sees Moo taking a bath behind me. Yeah. Hey, Moo. She always steals the show. She's our drama queen. So, this guy keeps telling so many different stories. It just wears you out. But so now he's told the story that, it wasn't, he pushed him off the ladder. Of course, I don't know how he's going to explain the bullet holes, because if you fall off a ladder, you don't have those. I don't know why the guy didn't see that his story was not going to come together. I mean, we have a premeditated murder. That's all there is to it. This was premeditated. He brought him to that home to harm him, had, gets him in the truck, drives him away, and then he harms him. Then he finishes the job. Is that right? In the truck
Yeah,
at that location.
at the location.
So,
We're not sure if we killed him in the truck or outside,
okay.
right?
Because
There
So they
wasn't,
said
yeah,
that.
they weren't.
Well, Jacob was,
He was shot though twice in the truck, but they're not sure if he was alive or if he wasn't when he was shot. Like that can be determined because he was decomposing himself, and his
But they-
feet were hanging out of the. So his head was toward the passenger door, and his legs were hanging out of his truck.
okay.
but
That
seven,
almost, so that sounds like he was trying to get out.
um,
I don't know.
We're not
really
sure.
idea.
Yeah.
Those are. Yeah, I don't know.
Because those, because if he was trying to get out, trying to get away, that just,
Same time, the truck, there wasn't enough blood splatter for him to be shot that many times in the truck. So he had to have been shot. Like, so he had random shots, and they said it was probably from him, like, trying to dodge the bullets when he was shooting them. So Jake that had to have happened, I don't know, outside of the truck or whatever, but for sure we know he was shot twice. in his truck because there was one bullet hole that went straight out. And that happened how he was laying in the back of his truck. Then they shot him once, and then that was why it was in the face, and it went out that side, like how it did. Yeah.
So he was still partially in the truck when they found him.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't know if he couldn't have been shot some at the barn because they burned the barn down.
Yeah.
You know, because that's probably how they got him to get into the truck. We don't know.
There wasn't a lot of blood splatter in his truck because he could have been. Is that what they said?
Yeah. They went over that. That's okay. Go ahead.
Well, so to me, I'm still trying to figure out why the DA was so worried about pressing all these arson charges and didn't think about kidnapping, because you've now taken this man from this. First you coerce him to your location, you harm him, then you take him to another location, and he was alive but he's tied up. That, you know, he didn't go willingly. So I'm sorry, Mr. Eric Johnson, DA of Seminole County. I have questions for you. I have lots of questions for you. Why are we not, you know, looking at kidnapping charges? Because he was kidnapped. He was taken. Also, at first, the feds were supposed to take care of the charges because was this on Indian land, native land?
Yeah.
So the federal government should have taken the case. For some reason, they handed it to the state. And the state fell down on their face, if you ask me, because the charges that they're going with are, they were supposed to be going with first-degree murder with intent, and then a bunch of arson charges. And out of the 4 arson charges, they're dropping 1, and they want to give him second degree. They want to give him second degree and give him 20 years. They've told the family that they want to do what they call 20 in, 20 out. And they've tried to tell the family that that means he will be in there for 20 years. But according to their own statutes that I looked up, and I'm not a lawyer, I don't play one on YouTube, but I do some research. Doesn't mean I'm always right. But according to their research that I found on Mr. Google here, if you get 20 years, you still get whatever time you have served. He was arrested in 2024. So he's been in jail for a couple of years, which would take a couple of years off of 20 years. Now, in Oklahoma, there's also the law that if you have good behavior, you only have to serve 85% of your sentence. Guys, get this. He's requested to go serve his time in Texas, and they've granted it. But even though he goes to Texas, they still have to follow Oklahoma laws. So it's not like he would serve his full time. And that's a problem. Because like someone here, Karen Scott said, it all happened on Mother's Day weekend. This was a time of celebration. He was supposed to go off with his family, but he took the time to answer this man's call to go help him. He was held against his will. He was tortured, and he was shot about 8 times. Is that what the autopsy, they said 8 times? Because in some of the preliminary hearing, they don't mention the exact, it's like they're trying to brush over how many times this poor guy was shot. And that infuriates me because it needs to be told.
And we've heard 10 times. So
Yeah. And that's a problem. If I was you, if I was someone in the family should call the medical examiner and ask them and just say, I want the exact number, because that would make for your statement on Thursday, because they need to know how many times Jacob had to put up with this.
But I do believe the autopsy does say 8 times.
Okay.
When we
Okay.
were standing around talking with the assistant DA and our investigator, they were like, well, there was, 2 more times when they were sitting there telling us, and if there would have been 2 more times, I'm thinking it would have been in the autopsy of 10, but they've only said 8.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But I mean, that's what we would normally call overkill.
Yeah.
You do not need to shoot somebody.
It's exactly what I told them. This is premeditated. It's overkill.
Yeah.
How is this?
Yeah. And the prosecutor thinks that giving this man 20 years when he won't even serve that much should make this family happy.
Right.
I mean, here, look at the photo, you guys. This is a man that brought a baby deer home. And if you watch the video on his mom's Facebook, he's sitting there going, I think it thinks I'm his daddy. He had a great sense of humor. This was a loving, caring person who was terribly ripped away from a family that adored him.
That
And
he says, come here, come to daddy.
yeah. And at one point, the poor little deer's legs go out from it, and it just flat. And he's and he's picking it up, like, got to save my little baby here. But the earlier picture was him with a snapping turtle trying to scare somebody. That would have scared me. Here he is with 2 of his kids. He had 3 children who adored him.
4.
Yeah.
4.
4. Okay, I think, I forgot the oldest girl.
Yep.
That's right. But 4 kids, and he loved his children, and he took care of his kids. There's also, let me see if I can find the picture. Oh, that's him in Georgia. And that's him and one of the kids. Oh, okay, that's right. I forget there's a delay. I'm looking at 2 different things. There's him and one of the children. But there's pictures of him with his grandpa. And he had a special relationship with his grandpa. Didn't he, Georgia?
Yes, and his grandpa.
Yeah.
Him and my dad were besties.
Yeah.
They were each other's. Literally.
Yeah. And the thing to know is that as a native son, he really respected his elders. And he took time to be with them and spend time with them. Georgia told me, do you want to repeat that story you told me about the lady he helped, that she came to you afterwards and told you about your son and what he did for her?
He there was an elderly lady broke down at a Family Dollar, I do believe, and everyone just kept walking past her, she said, and then here comes this little Indian boy, and he asked if she needed help, and and so he got her car started, and he told her, I'm going to follow you home, because I want to make sure, you don't break down again. And so he followed her home and unloaded her groceries for her. And from that day on, he mowed her grass every time she needed it mowed, no matter how many hours, he had put in, that day. He still would, go mow that lady's yard and go to the store for her, like he'd do anything for her. But that's not just one, there's several people that he did that for. Like, he took care of the lady across the street. He always made sure her lawn was mowed. He had a big heart, very big heart.
So this was a young man that was trying to make a difference. He was doing good things with his life. He was helping people. He hired kids that had done some things, but he was trying to give them a break because he knew it could help him. He was willing to work. And when he found out the one kid had stolen something, he was trying to work a deal with the kid, so that he wouldn't get in trouble. And he was trying to protect the kid. Let's see, someone mentions, oh, yeah, Sleuthy Sweetheart, another one of our YouTubers says, if he was getting transferred to Texas, he would never get out of it if it had happened in Texas. And you're right, Texas is tough. But see, that's the problem. Even if he comes down to a Texas prison, they have to follow Oklahoma law, and that's the pain. Shannon Webster says in Seminole County, Ginger Paul didn't even pull the trigger in her case, and she even got life. So how is this man getting a 20-year sentence and not a life sentence? And he actually pulled the trigger. Shannon, that is a very good question, and that's why we're asking it tonight. We're asking why.
My question is, does somebody know somebody? Or is there some...
Money talks?
Yes. I mean, that's...
Exactly.
Because supposedly he's got oil money. He worked in oil fields. Supposedly his mother, allegedly.
The second does?
The second, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that could be a huge problem. And we saw that in another case in Oklahoma with Jesse Mack, where he violated those two girls, strangled that one girl, and almost killed her. And they let him walk with probation. Oklahoma, you're really messing up. I don't know what you judges are thinking there, because a judge has a right not to accept a plea deal. As a judge, you can say, I don't accept this, go back to the drawing board, or we're going to trial. Because we saw that when we did Alexia's case up in North Dakota.
Mhm.
They're going back to trial because that was a federal judge, and he literally told the prosecutor, no, we're not taking this plea deal. And that's what we need to see. We need to see the judge step up and say, we're not going to take a plea deal.
Heather Richards, in all capitals, Seminole County is corrupt.
Oh, Heather, I'm beginning to think almost all these are corrupt.
Yep.
We're seeing so many cases, and especially, and I'm just going to put it out there, when it is a native person that supposedly has done nothing, nobody pays attention. Because trust me, if it had been him that had harmed the second,
Right.
he would be in jail forever.
Right.
And that's what I'm not understanding. It does not matter. He was the victim. We're all part of the human race. We're all family. We all bleed red. Everybody deserves justice. And Jacob and his family are not getting it. And that's what I want the audience to understand. Like I said, the DA's name is Eric Johnson. You can look him up on the internet, and there is a phone number for the DA's office. Please feel free to call and tell them that as concerned citizens, we are concerned about the plea deal that has been offered here. Always be polite. Never be rude, because families and advocates have to live in these areas. I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm saying if your heart tells you that you want to put something out there before Thursday to the DA's office, feel free to call. The assistant attorney that is helping him actually has an email address. I will post it in our description. You can email her and tell her this is really a crappy plea deal and you don't agree with it. Because for what they did to this young man, stealing him, they stole him from his family and put him through who knows what.
Yeah,
And then
Karen said they victimize the victim when they're native.
Yep. We cover a lot of cases and we're seeing that.
Yep.
And that's why we offer our platforms to families to come out and tell their stories, because until we all know what these stories are, we can't stand up against it. And the more voices we get that say this is not right helps. And that's what's important. Thursday, if anybody lives in Seminole County, there in Oklahoma, the family's going to court. If you can, arrange to go with them. Arrange to be in that audience. Be the support for this family because they need it. You know, this is a young man that should be home right now having a Sunday afternoon with his family. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
OnlyFans, you're right.
That's a good point. You know, that he brings out. Only the real stories, not the sensationalized ones. And this is not sensationalized. This is just a raw deal. I mean, they got, whether there's police corruption or whatever, it's a bad deal.
And truthfully, it's not the police. The police have fought hard for this case. It is really the prosecutor's office by just backing down and wanting a win. That is really what this is.
Yeah.
It is just, we can get a win and we don't have to do the work. We don't have to spend the money. A trial costs money.
Right.
Well, then you have to go back to the question is, well, how do you make the determination what's a win and what's not?
Yeah.
For who is it? For who is it a win?
Well,
certainly not the family.
No, but see, the family, they don't take into their feelings.
Yeah, they don't take the family into consideration.
No.
So.
Because it's a win in the prosecutor's book because they got a conviction.
Right.
And that's all they're looking at.
Right.
I got a conviction. It doesn't matter how many years, but I got a conviction. So I won. Kind of like what the second said with, I won with Jacob. I got in a fight and I won. No, you didn't win. And neither did the prosecutor with this one. Yeah. Sadly, even Shanda says the family advocate sucked and should have worked with the family and fought for the family is my thought. You know what? Even some of the family advocates can fight, and it comes down to the prosecutor's decision. It really does. And if they don't have the cojones to do their job,
Yeah, but they assigned us an advocate, but like we never heard from her. I asked her that, if there was any kind of trial, if there was any kind of, not trial, I apologize, any kind of court date, like no matter what, if there's any kind of court date, we want to know. We don't care if it's a small, like they always, it's just a small, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I want to know. And just like whenever John Nolte III was able to get his ankle monitor off, they didn't even tell us that. Like, what if he would have came to one of our homes? They know where my parents live. They were driving by. when all the people were in the front yard looking for my son, you know, they were driving by. My husband actually got in the truck and went and tried to follow them, and well, he did follow them, but like, you know, they let this man out on and didn't tell us. They gave him a court date, lowered his bond, and put him on an ankle monitor and never told us. And then they let him off of his ankle monitor and never told us. Like, these are things, you know, we want to know. And we didn't have an advocate.
Yeah, because what if he would have had some ill intent toward the family because they got caught? It, you know, fortunately, I think because I think the boy's not all bright, you were okay. You know, but it could have been so much worse. It really could have. And that's a problem because the family needs to be in. I mean, that's huge. To
Right.
take somebody off of an ankle monitor and not say anything. And that's another problem I have with the prosecutor's office, was they have told this family they don't have to be at the preliminary hearings. And truthfully, the family should be at everything. Because that's one thing the judge is looking at, is how important was this person, sadly.
Right.
They look at that. And so if the family's not showing up, it's easy to, oh, well, okay, we'll just pass this one along. But that wasn't this family. They wanted to know. When Heather says he deserves the DP, you know, Heather, some families, and Georgia said it herself, she didn't want him to get the DP. She wants him to sit in jail for life. And I don't blame her. That's like Alexia's mother said the same thing. I don't want the DP because that's an easy way out.
Yeah, it's too good for him.
Yeah. You know, Shanna says her cousin was died in 2020 in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Yeah. And it's, you know, and that's why we have our platform, is for people that, you know, want to share their stories. And anybody, does anybody have any comments they want to make or anything? I just want people to remember who.
I want to say something about Jake.
Sure.
I'm Leanne. I'm his cousin. George is my aunt. She's my dad's sister. So all of us first cousins were brought up as brother and sister. We're close. And so Jacob, he was always like a brother, you know. And there was just nothing Jacob couldn't do. He was since he was all boy since he was a little boy. We climbed trees, you know, the tree out in front of our grandparents' house. We always climbed the trees together. He wasn't afraid, like he did dirt bikes, pop wheelies, fishing. He was just an all boy, and he could do anything. He could fix anything. He could build anything. He was just very family oriented, and just was there. I mean, I'm older, but I confided in Jacob about things like, you know, guy trouble, you know, just someone to talk to, because I knew we were close. I knew, you know, whatever I said to Jake, he wouldn't tell anyone, or he would give me advice. And I mean, that's just who he was, someone you could count on, someone that, you know, he would keep your secrets, you know, he was just a very loyal person. Elders loved him. Everybody loved him. Babies, his children. Yeah, he was just a special guy, and he just saw that big dimply smile coming. I mean, it was just an awesome human being. And even whenever we were looking for him, I remember the White Horse, you know, we had a meeting, and they told us when they talked to people, there wasn't one bad thing that anyone had to say about Jacob. You know, people that they interviewed, and they said there's no one that we have talked to, you know, that had anything bad to say about Jacob. No one out there, besides the Noltes, this is everyone else they interviewed, had anything, so they couldn't, figure out, like, I guess they were trying to figure out who could be, have a motive or anything like that. And they're just, no one had anything bad to say about Jacob. So, I mean, that's just who he was. Everyone loved him. We all loved him. He was just a great human being. He loved his family. He loved his grandparents, his mom, his everyone. He loved his children, and with all his heart. I remember my husband, he was going to give Jacob guitar lessons one time. Jacob was a teenager. And he said Jacob ended up teaching him a few things. Like this, he was good at everything he did. He just knew how to do everything. He picked up quick. And my husband was supposed to learn to play my favorite song, What You Give, by Tesla for me. And he couldn't figure out, I guess, how to play it. He never did. So I asked Jacob. Jacob learned. He learned how to play that song. And, but yeah, he was, I mean, we're a big family and we're close. And this really hurt. I mean, we're not the same.
Yeah.
No.
We got a life sentence.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's it. The family does get a life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about the cattail earlier. Moo decided to make an appearance. We never know when she will. She's an ornery cat.
This here is Jade. This is Jacob's
His oldest daughter.
Yeah, Skylar, his oldest daughter.
Okay.
Her mom, and her and Jake were very close. Like I told you last night,
Yes.
them two had a very good relationship. Even, they both moved on down the. But Jake always came to her too. Jake loved her, and but
Hey Jade. Hey Jade, how are you, darling?
Good.
How you?
Circumstances, but
Yeah. How's your daughter doing? I'm sure it's rough on her.
Skylar, my daughter doesn't talk about her dad that often, but she's getting better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sometimes it's hard.
It
Sometimes
is.
that's hard for him.
She wrote a letter, and it's the first time I'm gonna read it. It's the first time I actually got to see how she really felt since the day it happened.
Yeah.
But it has changed her a lot. But she's slowly getting better.
Yeah.
Things starting to enjoy doing the things she used to do.
Well, it's a healing process, and she'll get there. Like I told Georgia last night, once the sentencing is over, you guys will be able to start your healing journey. Until then, you haven't really been able to, because you've been caught in this. It's a turmoil. It's almost like being caught in a wash machine. It's just constant agitation. So eventually you will, once it settles down. And I know you said that the 3rd has a court hearing August 20th.
Yeah.
For his case. And so it's going to take some time for the family to even start their journey to heal. But you have a strong, strong family from my conversation with Georgia. And there's a lot of love in this family. You can see it. The second really chose wrong. He chose the wrong man because he was loved. There's no doubt about it. Georgia shared the story of when Jacob was little, he always wanted to play Jungle Book. Of course, he was Mowgli. And she said he would assign everybody in the family characters. Even when they weren't really wanting to be a character, they got to be a character so that they could play with him. So he sounds like just a beautiful young man, and had a lot of life to him and a lot of people that loved him. Um, Karen Scott says during all the preliminary hearings, the DA's office would tell the family, "We got him. We got a good case to go to trial for murder in the first degree." And then it'd be like, "Mr. Scott or Mr. Johnson, what happened?
Yeah,
What
obviously
happened?"
their tune changed on that one.
Yeah, that's a problem. That is a problem that they don't see what they're doing to you guys as a family. Um,
And we're still giving hands, you might as well spit in her face.
I mean, it is. Do you know if the DA did they change their mind and feel that they weren't going to be able to get a first degree murder conviction, or what? Why the plea deal?
That's
For
fine.
when, that's what, yeah, that is all of our questions. But, for the DA, for the last however many years this has been going on, we've only spoke with him a total of 15 minutes maybe. Like we've never never spoke to him. Like, he was always busy doing something else. Like we had one family meeting and I think it didn't last long at all.
yeah.
But like this whole entire time, like we've only, it seems like he would have been talking to us more if he thought that there was going to be a problem with this case. Thinking, well, he's not really, talking to us because, they have it under control. Like they have this case, it's concrete evidence. It is a solid case. And then all of a sudden, we're getting called in and he's making a plea deal.
Yeah. And like I told you, Georgia, I think it has a lot to do with money. And if he hasn't had a win lately, if he's lost any big cases, he needs a win. And so the easy win is you do a plea deal.
Yeah. Shanda makes a good point about that. It's her thought that why wouldn't the DA and the advocate talk to the family? I mean, if the whole the scenario changed to where they didn't think they didn't have a good enough case to get a murder conviction, what obviously the DA didn't want to talk to the family and explain, maybe he didn't have an explanation as to why. I don't know.
Yeah.
We wanted the same questions. Like we want answers.
Yeah.
We want justice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We're
See, and that's why I don't know why they didn't put out the kidnapping charge, because that is a federal felony and he could have in Oklahoma could have got life for that. Or the DP. So it's kind of like if you say you're going for DP, someone might take life.
right.
But what you're offering is just nothing. And
And
that's
He's accepted it. Yeah. Of course he's gonna jump on that deal. That's a deal. Is
well,
this
yeah.
concerned? They had all the evidence they needed. 3,000 plus pages of discovery, plus not even counting digital evidence. And as far as we were told, I mean, they had everything they needed. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what changed, and they're making plea deals. Why are we making deals if you have all this evidence and his son's testifying against him? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I know that they were trying to use this, say that the defense attorney was trying to say that the son was covering for himself, wasn't trustworthy. So but I think they had enough of the other physical evidence, you know,
Oh,
that it shouldn't.
say that one more time. I didn't hear that.
I said they were trying to use, the defense attorney was trying to say that the son was not reliable with his confession, you know, with what he said about his dad. So that was the defense.
number three.
Yeah, number
the
3.
third.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
they were trying to say that the defense was going after the third and what he had to say, but they still had enough physical evidence against the second that I don't see why they couldn't, you know, they still could put the story, because part of an attorney's job is to be a storyteller, and you put the
Yeah.
story together of what happened. You have the phone coverage, you have the evidence of what happened to Jacob.
The pings of all of them at this where
Yes.
Jacob was found. All their phones pinged.
Yes. You also have the threat he made a month before. So, you know, this man was looking for someone to blame. He also wanted to, you know, his son's already said that his father bought, you know, a tracker. Okay, you're going to tell me there's no evidence that that tracker was bought? I'm sure he didn't pay cash for it. I'm sure he put it on credit. So you have evidence to show that he bought a fingerprint kit and, you know, so he was going after Jacob. He decided Jacob, because of an indiscretion in when he was younger, that was who he was focused on, instead of just letting the police do their job, because he could have gone to the police and said, I suspect this guy. And the police would have come to Jacob and said, give me an alibi, you know, and investigated it. That would have been the end of it.
Right.
But instead, this man decided that he deserved the right to take, you know, this into his own hands,
Yeah.
that he needs to pay the price
He does. This is
because
premeditated.
he was wrong. 3 people were arrested afterward. Chandler said, I did it, and Jacob did not do a thing. Jacob had nothing to do with this. And I'm sorry, the second's family should feel shame that this man has done this to another family with little kids, with a family that loves him. You took everything away from this family.
The day he
And
killed,
yet,
they killed a part of all of us that we'll never
Yeah.
get and will fully never kill. One thing that
no,
said in her letter is, my dad will never get to see me walk down the aisle. And heck, she's 14, about to be 15 now. And you're giving this man 20 years less than that. It should be like that. He should never be able to get out and breathe the same murder. It's just a pre-calculated murder. He planned this out from a long time. Not that day, the second degree. I don't agree with it. And the way he was killed 8 times and stuff like that.
yeah,
And they're just pretty much giving him a slap on the wrist.
exactly.
Yep.
You're right, Jade.
Sorry.
You know? No, this is for the family to speak how you feel.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. You guys are all hurting, and that's why we have our platform. That's why you deserve the justice. And we want to put it out there that, you know, we need to support this family, you know, send them our best wishes. Georgia has a Facebook page, which is Georgia Nicole Washington. Go send her some love. Don't forget Jacob. Say his name, Jacob Schuyler Washington. You know, because he mattered. He mattered a lot, and we're not going to forget him. He's not a statistic. He was a valuable member of a family and society. And this is who justice deserves.
And
You know?
your family will, you do have the ability, I guess you will be heard at the sentencing trial, right?
Yeah.
At the sentencing hearing. Okay. All right.
Of course, they tried to give Georgia a whole bunch of rules on, you know,
It's not my
it-
night.
No, they told you it wasn't open like that.
It wasn't open mic night and open
Keep it
night
short.
mic. And maybe 2, maybe 3 will be able to read a letter. Well, he has a humongous family, very close knit family, and everyone's wanting to write a letter, like, or everyone's wanting to speak, and
Yeah.
we're not allowed.
I'm sorry, he should have to sit there all day.
Yeah.
Right,
If everybody in the family wants to write a letter, he should have to sit there all day.
right.
They just don't want to. That's just not, it's taken up.
Well, that's too bad. We don't care about what they want no more. I mean, I'm sorry. If the prosecutor can't just sit there and smile and wait for the family to read their letters and the judge can't sit there and listen, that's a problem. You shouldn't have offered a plea deal then,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
That's really a problem. And I have a problem with that.
Bottom line is that the DA's office most likely felt they weren't going to get a first-degree murder conviction, so they came up with this plea deal. You know.
Doc, I don't even think it was that. I think they just didn't want to try. I really do. I think they realized that there was going to be more work involved. It was going to cost them some money.
Yeah.
And I think they just decided that this was easier and quicker. And this is, because Jacob was killed in 2023, and they just decided we need to go ahead and get this closed out. And this is the quickest, easiest way to do it. And who cares what the family thinks? Because trust me, if this was a Caucasian
Yep.
white boy named Johnny on the football team in the suburbs, we would have it on News Nation, CNN would cover it.
Yeah.
All these other people would be covering this case and screaming about it.
I was about to address the elephant in the room, and that's it right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it was a young native young man.
Yep.
And it doesn't count. Yes, it does count. And it infuriates me. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we give voices to the people that don't get to be heard, that their cases don't get to be heard. Because I want people to know about Jacob Schuyler Washington. I want people to know what was done to him.
So wait a minute. So Heather makes the point. Since when does a criminal get to decide where they serve their time? They're allowing him to. So they let him decide where he wanted to go to prison.
Yeah, he asked to go to Texas, and they said okay.
Yeah, he's still telling everyone what to do.
Yeah.
He's been telling his family their whole life, they said he would just hold up a cap and they would run to go fill his drink up or make his mixed drink or whatever, and he's trying to tell us now, well, I guess he is, but he's still telling people what to do, what he's going to do.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I can say is hopefully they'll put him in one of the prisons here that doesn't have air conditioning.
Yes, that's what
because a lot of Texas prisons don't have air conditioning. It gets hot in Texas. Yeah. So let's hope that's where he ends up, in one of those.
Yeah.
If he comes. But yeah, he shouldn't, they can request. Most people are allowed to put in a request. That doesn't mean it gets answered.
True.
Yeah. But heck, they let the third go back to Texas, and he's still not even had his case settled. So
without an ankle monitor.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Before we wind up tonight, normally what we do is we go over some missing persons flyers, and because it's important that when we're out and about, we will look at people's faces. You never know when you're going to come across someone because people can hide, right in front of our eyes. Many people may leave their home willingly and then get in a position they're not allowed to get back. We know trafficking is a real thing. So these people need to be looked for. They matter. If you don't want to call the authorities, we do have a tip line. It's tips, the number 4, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. We will pass on information. This is Isaiah Fox. He's 26. He was last seen June 18th of 2026 in Fort Belknap, Montana. He's a native young man, black hair, brown eyes. He's 5'8", 320 pounds. Fort Belknap, and I'm pronouncing it wrong. And Lissa will laugh at me when she hears this. The tribal police. Contact the local law enforcement in Montana or the clearinghouse at 406-444-2800. This next one was sent to us by Dottie, who's a trafficking investigator. This young man is Pete Torres. He's been missing since October 12th of 2015. It's an old one. San Marcos, Texas. He was last seen around 3 a.m. leaving a bar nearby a convenience store. He was carrying a takeout bag. He's a Hispanic male. He has black hair with a goatee. Brown eyes. He's 5'6", 5'7", 160 to 170 pounds. He has a black widow spider tattoo on his neck, tattoos on both arms. Contact the Guadalupe County Sheriffs at 830-379-1224. And then we have this young man. This is Tatum Lucas Moon. Tatum is 28. He was last seen May 26 of 2026. He's of the First Nations in Canada. Chilliwack, British Columbia, and I pronounced that wrong. I'm sure I need Maria Jack here to help me with some of the Canadian cities' names. He was visiting his family. He normally lives in Vancouver. And they said it's very out of character for him to be gone this long. He does have some mental health challenges, but he stays in contact. And for him not to be in contact, they're worried. So they said there's a possible sighting near Surrey in British Columbia. He's got black hair, like I said, goatee, brown eyes, 5'11", 181 pounds. Case number 26-23744, or contact Chilliwack RCMP at 604-792-4611. These will be in our social media and on our LinkedIn page as soon as I input them. So, and if anybody ever has a flyer that they want us to show, please send it to us. But as we wind up with the family, here's a picture of Georgia and her little boy when he was little. Georgia, what do you want people to know before we close out tonight? What's important about this case, about your heart?
So mainly, I just want prayers that the judge will consider a more time. This whole family needs a lot of prayers.
Okay.
And I've just actually lost for words,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have last words?
We just want the best outcome for everyone, for us to start healing, We just want we want justice for Jake. Like they've kind of made it seem like we want revenge, and it's not that. Like we want
we want this to be justice for everybody,
Yeah.
especially Jake. Like, he did not deserve this whatsoever. Like, and the person that Jake was, he would forgive this man today for what he did to him. That's just who he was. Exactly. Yes. They got second chances. Like, he just,
Yeah.
you know, this man at one time said that Jake was like a son to him. And Jake cared for that man so much. Like, he cared for the man so much that he didn't even go with his family on Mother's Day. He stayed because that man wanted him to come to work so he could kill him.
And we see how he feels about his family if he felt like Jake was a son to him.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. This
Yeah. Like, even
prayers.
looking for Jake, he asked us, have y'all not found him yet? Like, why would you ask the family that knowing that you put him there? Like, he wanted us, he wanted us to find him. And it's like, he said, y'all haven't found him yet. Yeah. Is what he said.
Oh, I'd make sure that's in my statement.
Oh, we have his recordings anytime that we would talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning, I wasn't sure. And then whenever I talked to him and he sent a video of my son's truck leaving, it was him the whole time that was my son's truck leaving with my son in the back seat.
Because in a way, by him calling you, he was really terrorizing you because he knew the answer.
Yes. And, you know, he told me, no, you can't come search my property. Whenever I get back, you know, you'll be able to come and search. And I was like, well, everything was on his time. Yeah. Like, even with the, like, you know, him telling law enforcement, no, like, you're coming at this time. And, like, you know, them letting the son turn himself, like, I'm picking this day and I'll turn myself in Saturday. Like, how come they get to pick what they get to do? You know, like, it's from the very beginning, like, that they have told law enforcement what they're going to do.
He probably wrote his own.
And they do, like, you know, the family's well known and they do have money. Like, not long ago, they put a guy in John's cell and had John asked the guy, hey, will you write a letter saying that it wasn't me that did it, that you know who did it, and, you know, for commissary, for the guy to get commissary. And the guy did it. And it's like, so he called his sister and said, hey, put some more commissary money on my books. And it's just like, you know, he has that authority over everyone. Do this, do that. And that's what everyone does. And like, and then this, like, and that's like a slap in the face to us. Like, you're giving him 20 years because he asked for it.
Yeah. Well, my question to the judge would be, why is he telling you what to do?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Ex-partner.
You know, and one thing that we did forget to mention was that weekend he sent his wife and daughter-in-law and daughter away from the house. He sent them to Texas to go to a supposed wedding. So see, he cleared the way for what he was going to do. This was totally planned.
Yes.
This was premeditated. I just don't understand where they're getting second degree.
Exactly. That's what we want.
Like, we were 3 weeks away from trial, like 2 weeks away from trial. Like, we were going to trial, and then overnight, hey, we're not going to trial. We're offering him a plea. Why? Like, what y'all's mind, but like within 24 hours, really?
Yeah.
Like, it's not fair, really.
So remember, everybody, the district attorney's name is Eric C. Johnson. That's Seminole County, Oklahoma. I'm sure he would love to hear our thoughts. So, you know, fill up his answering machine because, you know, they won't put you right through to him. So, but just fill it up respectfully and tell him that this is an injustice that we're seeing. But yeah, this is horrid. Anybody else have any last thoughts before we close out tonight?
We just don't want to be another case that has been failed.
So
Yeah.
we want the word out there.
We want the time to fit the crime. We want
Yes.
what he did. We want his
Yes.
minutes to match what he's,
That what
what he's responsible for. He
Yeah.
made a
He
choice.
did it.
They made a choice. He did this. He made a choice. There's no deals.
Yeah.
There's no deals. He didn't give Jake a deal. There's no deal.
Yeah. And you're not asking for anything that any other family would not be asking for. That's the important thing.
And we've been respectful. We haven't.
the whole time
We've been
kept it
quiet. We've had complete faith in this case.
We've left it in their hands.
Yeah, and this is what we
He's
get.
failed. He's been failed from the very beginning.
Yeah, this is
That's
what
what
we get. It's
Yeah.
very-
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
they're not asking for anything that isn't just.
Yeah.
It's
We're asking for
ridiculous what they're willing to put in the plea deal. So,
Yeah.
that's just, there's gotta be something behind it, whether it's money or whatever. It's there is definitely something behind what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Somebody should be checking people's the money that they get for their campaigns.
yeah.
Just saying. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Someone's going to run for office again. Someone might want a campaign, donation. I don't know. Just a thought I had. I like to share thoughts. So, in Seminole County, if I was you, I'd be asking lots of questions because it's the Washington family this time. Next time it could be yours.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not the first
Yeah.
time something like this has happened in this town either.
Yeah.
But that
And
is solved.
especially if you're a Native family, and our motto here has always been silence is betrayal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So don't be silent.
No.
Don't forget that every killer and predator out there depends on our silence, and we're committed to not giving it to them. If you know something, speak up, because it wasn't a mannequin. It never is. And like I said, silence is betrayal. And if we don't hear these stories, we can't make a change.
Oh.
And this is what the bad guys are counting on, is us staying quiet.
Yeah. And we stayed quiet and respectful the whole time. We've been quiet, very respectful, and, because we have faith in our Seminole County judicial system, and they have failed us.
Yeah.
Not just us, but others too. I'm sure.
Not just us, but his children.
Yeah.
Other cases.
People think that they can get away with this,
Well,
Yeah.
There's somebody walking around in Seminole now that has.
Yeah.
10 years ago, a man hasn't been murdered in this town, and it still has not been solved. But then you
Yeah.
catch a killer, and y'all don't do anything with that.
And did the footwork to find Jake. No telling how long it would have took for him to be found.
He probably never
Yeah.
would. I mean, the guy,
But yeah,
he went the whole year free.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he slept good at night, not knowing what he did.
Yeah. And that's true. And that's why we do what we do, is to get the stories out, to make sure you guys get a voice.
Mm.
Like I told Georgia, just because we do a show doesn't mean we're not here for you. Anytime you need to call us, Georgia has my number. My email address is trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com if you want to shoot me, information. If you ever come across a flyer you want us to share, mostly we will always share our Native brothers and sisters flyers because they don't get posted enough. Sometimes, like tonight, we had Mr. Torres because we had an advocate that asked us to put it out there, and I'm willing to do that. But it's important when a family has flyers, please share them when they're looking for someone, because one day it could be your family. And if anybody has a story they want to reach out to us, like I said, email us. We're glad to assist you in giving you a platform for your story. We really are honored that you guys shared Jacob with us tonight, because you did share him with us. We got to know him.
Yes.
And through your memories, George and I had a great almost 4-hour conversation in the middle of the morning after she got off work. And she shared a lot of lovely stories with me about what a fine young man he was. And he was making a difference in our communities, in society, and helping others. And that's what we need to realize. We don't want any more families to go through this. So just remember, if you do, though, reach out to other families like the Washingtons. They can help you because they've been through something nobody should. But until next time, you guys, stay informed, stay compassionate, keep speaking truth, and never stop speaking up. And Doc, do you want to say goodnight?
Good night, Doc.
We love you. We love you guys. You're part of our community now. You're welcome anytime. The criminals don't stop, so neither do we. We'll be back on Thursday night with another story to share. So please listen to our last song tonight. It was written with Jacob in mind from memories that Georgia shared with me. Don't forget to say his name and don't forget him. We love you all and have a good night. And thanks for being here. Ciao.
He gave us all our parts and made the whole family play. He was always Mowgli, our leader night and day.
But leading wasn't just pretend, it was who he really was.
He loved his people more than he ever loved himself.
2 wheels and a dirt track, tricks that stole your breath.
Hear a song once, pick up the guitar, and he'd already know the way.
Never learned to read it, didn't need the page.
He built the music by feeling, like he built everything his way.
Frame on, keep going,
That's what he always said.
building homes for families, building love as well. Everyone he loved with his whole heart. He mattered, he still matters. We carry him with us, that's the man we knew.
He built houses for strangers
As if they were his own,
signed his name to every project.
proud of the work he'd done.
He went out of his way
For anyone in need,
His babies were his heart.
his family was his why.
He was building something lasting,
Something that won't die. Frame on, keep going, that's what he always said. Building homes for families, building love as well. Everyone he loved with his whole heart. He mattered, he still matters. We carry him with us, that's the man we knew.
he gave his elders honor,
Gave his grandfather his time,
dropped everything to sit with him.
hear every word in rhyme.
He'd stop for a stranger,
On the side of the road,
pulled right over kindness.
was his code.
He's George's little Mowgli, the one who made us play. He's the song you didn't know the words to until he picked it up. He's the frame that's still holding up a house somewhere, a family somewhere, and all of us right now. Frame on, Jacob, we're not setting this down. as he taught us to. We keep building, every hammer swing is a promise coming true. Fremont, keep going, that's what he always said. Building homes for families, building love as well. Everyone he loved with his whole heart. Jacob Schuyler Washington, he will not be forgotten. His memory held fast in every heart he touched. Jacob, you will not be forgotten. Fremont Jacob.